joint enterprise law. Sandeep Kaushal, you're representing someone who has been convicted under the joint enterprise law, and this case is now going to appeal. What do you think doesn't work with joint enterprise law? Because we've heard from Lorraine to understand how it did work in Lorraine's opinion.
Well, with regard to Lorraine, it's an awful incident which has occurred with her son, and my heart goes out to Lorraine under these circumstances. But what we have to dispel, that there is no statutory definition of joint enterprise. It is open to misinterpretation, arguably, therefore. The doctrine of joint enterprise goes back several hundreds of years, going back to the 18th century in the issues in the case of duelling, for example. And we have to now consider whether it is applicable and sensible, whether to be used in the 21st century as it stands. We have the issue of the person who perpetrates the fatal blow. Yes, he is the person who has committed the murder. But those persons on the outside, those persons who have not played a role in the murder itself, is it fair that they also should be convicted of murder based upon mere foresight? They have little or no part to play in the murder, but some even may have their backs turned when the fatal blow is struck. But the courts, under the guise of joint enterprise, find it sufficient that because they were simply there and they gave some form of encouragement, they should be convicted of murder also, and that's what we are saying is causing a huge miscarriage of justice.
Sandeep, what are the implications for your clients of the Supreme Court judgment today?
Well, what we're looking at is for the Supreme Court to make a ruling that the law of joint enterprise needs to be urgently looked at again. There is no principle set out in logic as to, well, what are the roles of the individuals who are just standing by doing practically nothing. In the case of Ameen Jogee, who I've been representing now, or my firm's been representing now for some time, since the moment of his arrest, we would say that he was outside of the property when the murder took place. He took no part in that property. He was not even aware a knife was produced at the scene of the murder. But under the guise of joint enterprise, he has been found guilty of murder, and that's what we're seeking the Supreme Court to address.
Well, clearly we're not in a position